Okay, why not own the world to build your wealth? Now we're going to get into this one, but before we do, if you find my content valuable, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. All right, why not own the whole world to build your wealth? Well, there is a way to do that. And we're going to be talking about a very specific ETF, an exchange traded fund that is with Vanguard. I often use Vanguard for my investing. In fact, that's what I use exclusively outside of my 401k. I use Vanguard to invest. And there is a fund that actually encompasses the whole world. And this happens to be an index fund that's an exchange traded fund, an ETF. Now there's also with Vanguard a index fund version of this. And just to explain a little bit, I'm going to set the camera down here. I'm going to sit on this bench. Well, let me first show you. I'm actually here at McAllen Library. There's this very nice waterfall here. I won't walk all the way over here. But I often come over here to look for books with my side hustle. I sell used books on Amazon. But Vanguard has the Total World Market ETF. The ticker symbol for it is VT. And I told you there's also an index fund that is the World Market Index Fund with Vanguard. And the difference between index funds and ETFs or exchange traded funds, at least from my perspective and how I kind of see the difference between them, is really several different things. One, with Vanguard, there is a minimum amount that you have to put into I think all of their index funds, but at least most of them, there's a $3,000 minimum to start an index fund with Vanguard. However, with the ETFs, there is no minimum. So I really do like the ETFs. Now with my Roth IRA, I do have that in an index fund, but with my brokerage account, I utilize Vanguard's Total World Market Index Fund, VT, and I like the Total World Market Fund ETF, VT, and I like the ETFs because there's no minimum. You could start today if you have $5 in your pocket and make it happen and get that fund open, okay? And VT gives you access or gets you a little piece of ownership of stocks around the whole world. It's as if you're holding a piece of the whole world and the stocks and companies around the world where you're owning a little piece of ownership of all of these different companies around the world. And so you in one fund have all of these different companies from all around the world. I love having that. And so for me, full disclosure, I actually have VT, Vanguard's Total World Market ETF, as part of what I'm investing in, and I do that in my brokerage account. Now it's a small percentage of my whole portfolio, because in my brokerage account weekly, I just dedicate a small amount of money to my brokerage account to get ready for what many people call their retirement. I like to call it the opportunity and the options phase of my life, but many call it retirement. And I use VT, that Total World Market Fund, in my brokerage account. There's some neat things about, again, the Total World Market and ETFs. And the one thing that I just mentioned is that there's lower cost to actually, our minimum amount that you have to invest to get started. There is no minimum amount. So again, you can start with just $5 and get that ETF going. The other thing is, the difference between ETFs and then index funds is that ETFs are traded all day long on the stock market, meaning at different times you can trade, take shares out, buy more shares all throughout the day. With an index fund, that's just once per day. When the market closes is all that you actually can trade with an index fund, okay? But an equivalent ETF or index fund It's the same thing. All of the same companies are in the index variety of a particular fund or the ETF variety. So it's basically the same thing as far as the companies underlying the actual fund, okay? So those two things are the same. But like I said, with an index fund, at least with Vanguard, there's a $3,000 minimum, and then with the ETF, there is no minimum, so you certainly can get started right away. That's why I often talk, especially to young people, about ETFs. So let's go further into Vanguard's total world market ETF. Now there's 10,000 plus companies in this ETF, so it's highly diversified. And the other thing is it actually, the funds or the actual stocks within it kind of take care of themselves as far as what is actually in the fund. I read a book by J.L. Collins, I often recommend it, The Simple Path to Wealth, where he talks about how index funds are self-cleansing. In other words, if a company does poorly, it just drops out of the index. And those companies that are doing better, well, one, the company that is highest up to enter the index enters the index after that other company drops off. And other companies move up naturally as they're doing better. So I was looking at it recently, and I think it's in the top 50. There's the international company Nestle that's in VT, the World Market Index Fund with Vanguard. So Hershey's is in there, or Nestle rather, is in there. I think it's a Swiss company, okay? And there's a bunch of American companies in there. So that company is in there. If it does better, it will move up in VT's index there. In the World Market Index, it will actually move up if it does better. Here's another neat thing. You don't have to wonder whether international stocks are doing better or if stocks here in the United States are doing better, because both are in the fund. And if stocks here in the United States are doing better, it's higher weighted because those companies are doing better and are higher up in the fund. If companies overseas are doing worse, then they're lower down in the index, okay? And vice versa. If international companies are doing better, they rise up in the index, so you have a larger weighted representation of those international companies within the fund. So it just kind of takes care of itself. It's weighted properly whether the international stocks are doing better or the domestic US stocks are doing better. So it kind of balances out and takes care of itself. So you don't have to be the expert to take care of that. So this is another one of those funds that I wanted you to consider. And again, I'm not a financial advisor, so you definitely want to do your research and come to your conclusions, but it's another fund that you can take a look at. We talked about the total stock market in the US, which was great, and that's a good thing. But now we're talking about VT, which is great. Take care, ladies. But now we're talking about VT. I was saying hello to some of the ladies there in the library that helped me out today as I was looking for books. But VT has the total world in there for you. So we're looking at that one. Before we just looked at total US stock market, and we also looked at total bond market. And really, that's the major part of my allocation. I look at a total stock market fund as well as a total bond market fund, and I have an 80-20 mix. 80% total stock market here in the US, and I have 20% total bond market in my 401k. And then in my Roth IRA, I have all total stock market US. And then in my brokerage account, I have VT, the total world market ETF, okay? So you wanna look at these things, or at least it's my suggestion, look at these things, learn about them, index funds, and you actually could own a little piece of the entire world with an ETF like the World Market ETF, ticker symbol VT, with Vanguard. The main thing is that you get into the game, that you get to the point to where you're investing, to where you feel comfortable investing, and that you're doing it consistently on a regular basis. Like for me, I'm paid weekly. So consistently, money is going into my investments every single week to prepare for my opportunity and options phase, what a lot of people call retirement. How about you? Learn more about these index funds. Take control of your financial future, okay? And again, the VT ETF is another fund that you can take a look at to have a well-diversified portfolio for your investment future and for you to build wealth. Again, if you find my content valuable, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. Remember that my channel revolves around giving you information without solicitation, just that good information. You don't need a wallet, you don't need anything. You just need to show up, take in the information, and hopefully it will ignite your critical thinking and get you to the point to where you're in the game of investing and building wealth. Thanks again for listening.